Hey, Facebook Live, what's going on? This is Rich Fontaine, and this is Ask Rich. Ask me anything, and I'm glad to answer it. And I want to start this first episode with a question that I used to ask, and I had zero idea the answers. And I searched on YouTube, and I searched on many influencers and people of influence, and nobody answers this question. And some people fail to even ask this question. And so I just wanted to take it upon myself to kind of go with the knowledge that I've obtained and share it with the rest of the world. And in case you guys please share, please like, and I feel that this will help a lot of people help understand who am I and who are you. And first, before we start, I want to always start everything I do with gratitude. Thank you, Sean. What's going on, Sean? Hey, Jasmine. Thank you guys for taking your time out this morning to watch, and I really appreciate it. What I really want to do is go through some misconceptions, first and foremost, before we get into the actual answers. Who am I? Most people identify themselves with their career. I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor, I'm a physician, I'm a actor, I'm a speaker. But in reality, you're none of those things. That's what you do. It's not who you are. And so many of us get in this misconception of identifying ourselves with what we do. And that causes a lot of turmoil. Why? Because you are not anything that could be taken away. So anything that could be removed from your life, you are not. Your job could be taken away, and you were who you were before you ever got that job. So you're not your career. So let's take that one off the board. Other people identify themselves with their relationships. Oh, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a mother, I'm a sister, I'm a brother, I'm an aunt, uncle, etc. But that's your claim in relationships to other people, but that's not who you are. You are more than a mom, you are more than a dad, you are more than a sister or brother. You're more than your relationships. Because if you're on an island by yourself, you're still you. So let's take that one off the board as well. Other people think, oh, I'm my possessions. I have a nice car. I have a nice house, I have nice clothing, I'm making money, I have these material things. But even those material things can also be removed from your life. You switch cars before, you switch houses before, you switch material things, you've thrown things away and you purchase new things. You are not your possessions at all. And that's another misconception, to believe I am what I own. You own it. Really, you don't own anything. Really, it's something that you are obtaining at that moment in time, but you truly don't really own anything, because nothing, when you leave this planet, you're not taking any of those things with you. So you're not your possessions. Other people claim to be their religion. I'm a Catholic, I'm a Jew, I'm a whatever religion that you claim to be, but you're more than that as well. Because people switch religions, people change religions all the time. These are nothing that's embedded in you. So you're not your religion. And which causes many wars and killings, because people feel that, hey, I am this thing, and if you're not this thing, you're wrong. Really, we're all one thing, but we use these structures to separate ourselves. So you're not your religion whatsoever. Your country. Some people say I am where I'm located, but you can move locations. People move locations all the time. Immigrants say, well, I'm Chinese, but I live here in America. So you're not your location. And many people, I used to live in the urban areas where people say, well, this is my block, this is my area. But really it's not, because you don't own it. You don't have the deed to it. You don't own those neighborhoods. You don't own that city. So you're not your location. Okay, so you take all these things away. Who are you? So you're not anything that can be taken or removed from your life. So what else are you? What else do we identify ourselves with? With our human senses. With the things that we sense on a regular basis. Hey, what's going on, Robert? So we identify ourselves as our human self, but you're more than that as well. And this is a part that most people don't like to talk about or have a misconception, which I feel that it should be talked about because I'm a very deep thinker. Now, if you're not your human self, who are you? Why? Because anything that makes you human can be taken away. First, your eyesight. We know people that are blind. We know people that don't have eyesight. So we identify ourselves with our vision of the things that we can see. Oh, I could see this, so it must be real. But your sight could be taken away. So you take away your sight, what else do you have? You take away your other senses. If you can't hear, they say if a tree falls in the woods and there's nobody there to hear it, does it make a sound? The answer is no, it doesn't make a sound. Because your receptors of your ears are the only things that help you receive those vibrations through your senses. So if the tree falls, if you're not there to hear it, and if you can't hear it, it does not make a sound. So you can't be identified with your hearing because that can be taken away. We know people that are deaf. Your taste buds, your feelings of touch, and your smell mechanisms all can be taken away. So you're not any of those things. So ask yourself, if you took away your sight, your smell, your taste, your hearing, and your touch feel, what else do you have? You have what they call the sixth sense. Sixth sense is intuition, or what I like to call pure, positive awareness. You are pure, positive awareness. Consciousness. So if you took everything away, what else do you have? Is pure consciousness. And there's two levels of consciousness, as we both know, positive and negative. But negative could only be resolved from your experience of sight, taste, or hear. There's something I see I don't like. There's something I hear I don't like. There's something I taste I don't like. There's something I touched I didn't like. There's something I smelled I didn't like. So if you don't have any human experience, how can you have a negative one? So if you can't have a negative awareness unless you are going through your senses and those will all be taken away, you are only pure, positive awareness. Your highest self, what Napoleon Hill calls your other self, what Abraham Hicks calls your higher self, what Dr. Wayne Dyer calls your inner self, and so many other different variations, is who you really are. It's pure positive awareness. And only when you tap into who you really are, when you really can start to control your life. When I finally understood who I was and who I truly am, it felt like everything was a shift. I stopped resisting against who I was and I started to embrace that side of me. And when I started to embrace that side of me, I started to attract things into my life that I would never have had previously. Because I realized I was not my egoic mind. I wasn't the thinking mind. I wasn't these possessions. I wasn't these locations. I wasn't these countries. I wasn't my smell, my senses. I was human being. But if you remove your human side, your senses side, you are a being. And when you could get yourself in the place of silence and just be, and be a state of being, you'll start to realize what you truly are. Now, you're probably saying, Rich, okay, so what does that mean for me? How can I utilize that into my life? Well, understand, if you know who you really are, pure positive energy, you can start utilizing your real self into getting what you want. Most people, we get caught up on, okay, what do I do next? Through the silence, you figure that out. Because you're pure awareness of all things. Not just yourself, but of all things. That's how you get ideas, thoughts, and misconceptions. Have you ever thought of an idea and you thought, okay, you know what? This is going to be $1 billion idea. This is going to be a huge idea. This is going to be outlandish idea. And then you don't do anything. Months later to a year later, you see that somebody, hey, Ed, what's going on, boss? You see that somebody already took that idea and ran with it. Why? But you thought of it. How did they get to the idea? It's all in one. It's what Napoleon Hill called the infinite intelligence, the storehouse of all information. We all are tapped into this awareness with all information. So if you're looking for new ideas, it's always around. But in the silence is only when you can actually hear it, sense it, approach it, and take it in. Melody, how you doing, sweetheart? So the reason why I brought this to you is the misconception of who you are is what causes most of your turmoil. So if you're going through a tough time, it's just because of your misconception of who and what you really are. If you truly understand that you're only this, and you tap into that, so everything you think of goes through that. How do I see things as pure positive awareness? How do I tap into information through pure positive awareness? And that comes through the understanding and the silence to know I'm none of these things. I'm just this vibration of pure awareness. And once you understand that, that's why information starts coming to you. What I like to call inspired action. You have a thought. Okay, Rich, how do I do this moving forward in my career? How do I get more clients? How do I get more people into my industry? How do I follow my dreams? You do it through a state of pure positive awareness. If you can get yourself to that state, ideas start flowing to you. A concept starts flowing to you. Understanding starts flowing to you. And then for some reason, people see you as that. You walk into the room and people could sense your awareness of everything. People could sense that positive energy from you and they want to approach you. They say, hey, for some reason, I want to talk to that person. I walk into rooms and I'm the quietest person there and people come up to me or just give me looks like, hey, I want to meet you. Or, hey, how are you doing, sir? Because I walk into the room with pure positive awareness. Before I even enter out to the house, I put myself in a state of meditation where I put myself into my higher self. And when I do that, it seems the phone call starts ringing. I make the right phone call at the right time. I meet the right people at the right time. Give you a perfect example. I went to shop my book at a local bookstore. And as soon as I walked in, the lady was like, oh, here's the guy that buys our books. He only comes like once a week. You just walked in at the exact time he's here. That's not coincidence. That's me following the intuition of my pure positive energy. So the only thing I want you to try to concept to think about this week is, who am I? And if you start to claim who you are through your possessions, through your country, through your religion, through your anything that can be taken away, understand that that's a misconception and or illusion. Yes, a state of pure positive awareness. When you tap into that, you start to tap into who you really are. And then I wish I could say in words the feeling that you get, but only through experience you could really know it. All I could say is it feels like home. It feels like home. So that's my talk for today of who you are. I hope this served you well in moving through your week so that you don't block yourselves, block your blessings by putting yourself on your egoic mind to say, oh, I'm these things, when truly you are much, 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 much more than that. That's my talk for this week. And if you have any questions about anything, please inbox me and I'll talk about it next week. I want to go to more, Michelle, no problem. I want to go for more deeper talk. I went to many seminars. I've went to plenty of places and read many of books and interviews and things of that nature. And we stopped at a certain point of the alignment, of enlightenment, of understanding who we are and understanding our power. And so that's why I like to speak on things where most people, I think, maybe just afraid to enter into that rabbit hole. But I promise you, it's probably the best thing you could ever do in your life. I appreciate everyone coming out today. Yes, it's an alignment with your purpose. And it's an alignment of understanding that you're more than just this body. You're more than just your looks. You're more than just your hair, your eyes. You're more than all of that. And when you truly understand that you are just pure positive consciousness, that's when you can really utilize the universe and put you in position, not just to win, but to influence millions of other people to embrace who they really are. That's all we are just reminders. We're alarm clocks to remind you who you really are and the possibilities of what you really can do. Again, I appreciate everyone taking their time. Again, please inbox me if you have any questions. I have no problem answering anything that has to do with self-development, has to do with consciousness, has to do with law of attraction, has to do with awareness. It has to do with the concepts the Egyptians understood, the concepts that the Babylonians understood, the trueness of who, and that's why they made such great empires, because they understood what it took. And that took for them to get out of themselves and become their higher self. I appreciate everyone for taking your time. Again, I know I said that again. Either you agree with me or not agree with me. But either way, I always feel this was a successful conversation. Melody, thank you again. Michelle, thank you. Jasmine, thank you. And anyone that watches this now and or later, namaste.